Hello everyone, welcome to the series of Indian Nomics. Today's topic of discussion is non-performing asset. Non-performing asset is also called as bad loans. Now the reason for discussing the non-performing asset is recently, according to the report of RBI, the percentage of the non-performing assets are going to be highest in the last 20 years, and this is basically because of the incapability of borrowers to pay back the loans of the bank, and also the policy of government which is called as moratorium, which is provided to the borrowers while considering the COVID crisis. While it is not wrong to say that the Indian economy is being affected, and certainly the migrant workers or the retail borrowers are not in a condition to pay back the loan, but we need to recognize one fact, and the fact is that the banks run on the interest which they earn from the loans. Otherwise, the carrying capacity or the operating cost of the banks is so huge. If they are not going to get the profits based on interest, their business becomes unsustainable. Now, already the Indian banks are facing the problem of non-performing asset due to various reasons that had already been discussed in various discussions. But here what is happening, if the situation was already worse, and if you are going to give a moratorium which is called as temporary benefit given to the borrowers to not to pay the loan to the bank while considering the situation of COVID-19, it may create an unsustainable condition for the banks, and this is what is happening right now. Now, there is something more that needs to be discussed. According to the reports of RBI, the non-performing assets will jump by 4% to 12.5% of the total advances by March 2021, the highest since the year 31st March 2000. That means the NPA is going to break the records of 20 years. Now the central bank has also warned that if the economic conditions worsen, that means if the economic condition is not going to be right, and if COVID cases are going to increase further, and if it is going to affect the economic condition of India, then these NPA will rise to 14.7%, which is a very unsustainable condition for the banks. So this is the background of the news. Now, before understanding this fact further, let us first understand that what is non-performing asset. Non-performing asset, as I said, that also means bad loans. Non-performing asset means a loan. A bank has given a loan to Mr. X. Now, loan is generally paid in principal and interest. That means, say for example, if you have taken 100 rupees loan, and if the rate of interest is 10%, then this person will have to pay 110. And say for example, if he has to pay this 110 rupees in 10 installments, that equals 10 rupee as the principal amount plus 1 rupee as the rate of interest. This constitutes the loan installment. Now, if this loan installment, that means either the principal or the rate of interest or both, is not paid for 90 or more days, this situation is called as NPA or bad loan. Now, NPA is further categorized into certain category. That means after 90 days, a loan becomes NPA, and after that, if this NPA continues for 12 months, that means after this loan becomes NPA, and if it continues for 12 months, this is called as substandard asset. That means substandard asset is a category of NPA. Now, from 12 months to 18 months, it is called as doubtful asset. Doubtful asset. And after 18 months, if the bank realizes that this money is becoming uncollectible for me and it is not giving me any benefit, then in that situation, this non-performing asset will be called as lost asset. So there are three categories of NPA. First, a loan becomes NPA after 90 days. From 90 days to the 12 month, this situation is called as substandard asset. After 12 months up to 18 months, this is called as doubtful asset. And after that, if the bank realizes that I am not in a situation to collect the loan. Maybe if the borrower comes by itself to pay the loan, then this situation is called as lost asset. That means the bank feels that I am not in a condition to collect the loans, because if I am going to go and collect the loan, the operating cost will be going from my pocket. So this situation is called as lost loan. Okay. Now, what is the trend of the non-performing asset by March 2020? Please understand, if I consider Indian banks, now what are basically Indian banks? Indian banks are basically categorized in three formats. One, public sector bank; another, private sector banks; another, foreign banks. These are the three category of banks. If I categorize these banks on the basis of the non-performing asset, the NPAs of the public sector banks are 15 point. That means they are the highest. They are having the highest NPA. After that, the NPA of the private sector banks is 7.3%, and the NPA of the foreign banks is 3.9%. That means the NPA of public sector banks is highest. After that, the NPA of the private sector bank is lower than the public sector bank, and after that there is a foreign bank. This can also be one question in UPSC about the order, that which is having the highest percentage of the non-performing asset. Indian public sector banks are having the highest non-performing asset. And what is the reason? Out of the total loans in the market, more than 70% of the loan goes from the public sector bank. And if the economy is not able to perform, then certainly the public sector banks are going to owe the highest non-performing assets. This is the reason why public sector banks are having the highest non-performing asset. And moreover, public sector banks are run according to the directions given by the government. And whenever the government wants to revive the economy, they can put an indirect pressure on the public sector banks, because the heads of the public sector banks are appointed by the government. And government has a very strong role in deciding the rules and regulations for operating a public sector bank. So many times public sector banks operate under the pressure of the government. So in this situation, they may be forced to give loan even if the credentials of the borrower is not very good. Okay. So that is the reason why the public sector banks are having the highest non-performing asset. Now, if a public sector bank is going to have, one of the highest non-performing assets, then the credibility of that public sector bank will be very low. Now, what is the role of the credibility? Say, for example, a bank wants to borrow money from the market. And if the credibility of a bank is very low, then there will be no, creditor who is ready to give loan to the public sector bank. So in this situation, maybe a private sector bank can get the loan, and maybe a foreign bank can get a loan, but a public sector bank will fail to get a loan due to lack of credentials, because its NPA is highest in the market. Now, the situation of public sector banks is becoming more worse. Why? Because in the recent budget 2020-21, the government has not given any capital to the public sector banks. Yes, so earlier they are dependent on the government, because these public sector banks give dividend to the government. Dividend is the profit given to the shareholder in proportion of the shares. So although they give dividend to the government, but recently the government has decided not to give any fund to failing public sector banks. So this is making their condition worse. The second most important point is, if they are not going to get fund from the government, then they will have to depend from the market. And since their NPAs are highest in the market, so private sector banks may get the loan, but these public sector banks won't be able to get loan from the market. So this is going to make their condition more worse. Now, what should be the solution in this background? In my opinion, the immediate solution will be recapitalization. Now, what is recapitalization? It is infusing capital in public sector bank. So the government should infuse the capital in public sector bank, and if you want to promote the long-term sustenance of these public sector banks, then you will have to revive the economy. Why? As I said that since they give loan to the corporate, so unless the situation of the borrower or the corporate is going to be better, how the situation of the creditor is going to be better? Unless the borrower is in a situation to pay back the loan, we don't expect that the situation of the creditor is going to be better. So in a short term, in my opinion, the solution will be recapitalization. For a longer term, the solution will be reviving the economy. Now what is the policy of the government? Recently what government did, government had merged the public sector bank, and earlier the number of public sector banks were 27 and now the number of public sector bank is 12. And the government is in process to reduce them to further to 5 number of banks. That means the government wants only 5 public sector banks in the market, and rest government is in a situation to privatize all the banks. Now recently government has merged Punjab National Bank with the Oriental Bank of Commerce and United Bank and renamed it PNB. The government had merged Canara Bank with the Syndicate Bank, and the government has merged Union Bank with the Corporation Bank and Andhra Bank. So this was a merger of the 12 banks, so as merger of the 27 banks, so as to get 12 number of banks. Now the government is in a condition, and government is in talks also to reduce the number from 12 to 5. That means this is going to further reduce the number of public sector banks. But you can tell me one thing, that the solution of NPA is not the merger. Why? Because if you merge a strong bank with a weak bank, that can be a good situation of merger. But how can you merge a small bank with a loss-making bank with a loss-making bank? This is going to create a more unsustainable entity. And that is why many economists have criticized this policy of the government. If the economy was performing better, then a strong bank might have merged with a weaker bank, and it is a normal phenomena of the market. I'm not saying that point is wrong. But if the government is forcing the merger, even if the government knows that these two banks are not in a condition to be merged, because the condition of NPA is very high for these banks, that cannot be called as a prudent solution. So the government on one hand is merging the banks, and on another hand the government is not allocating them with any amount of capital. So in my opinion, the government should follow the step of recapitalization and reviving the economy. And if the condition goes better, then the government can promote merger or consolidation. Because even the Narsimham committee has given a recommendation that, Narsimham committee, this is a very important committee. It has given a recommendation that there should be a merger of the bank so that we can promote a world-class bank. But he had said that the situation should be normal. You cannot merge two weak banks, because then the resultant bank will be more weaker. Okay, so that is the discussion about today. Based on the discussion, there is a question for you, which you have to give me answer in the comment box. With reference to the non-performing asset, which of the following statements are correct? First, it is a percentage of the loans which is not performing in the industrial sector. Second, NPA is a liability on the bank. Third, NPA of the private sector banks is more than the public sector banks. Fourth, the government has injected 1 lakh crore rupees in budget 2020-21 in public sector banks. Fifth, NPA is the primary reason for promoting bank merger of the public sector banks. And sixth, the capital adequacy ratio norms under the Banking Regulation Act is in proportion to the NPA being kept by the bank. That means the capital adequacy ratio, which is the percentage of the loan which is turning out to be a non-performing asset. Say for example, 10 rupees loan is turning out to be a non-performing asset. Then in proportion to the bad loan, every bank has to keep a certain capital with itself. And these capital is further divided to two tiers of capital, tier 1 and tier 2. That means there is a capital which should be kept with every bank in proportion to NPA. And this capital is further divided to two parts, tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 1 is more than tier 2, and tier 1 is generally used for managing day-to-day losses, and tier 2 is used for paying back the money of creditors at the time of winding up or closing up of the bank. So I have given the answer here, like 6 part I have already explained it to you. Now you'll have to tell the right sentences in this question in the comment box. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. Keep forwarding this video to whoever you feel that is going to be worthy for him. And thank you so much for watching this video. We'll meet again with the next point of discussion. Till then, take care. Goodbye.